Vaheguru, 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 Vaheguru। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਪਿੰਗਲ ਪਰਬਤ ਪਾਰ ਪਰੇ ਖਲ ਚਤੁਰਭ ਕੀਤਾ, ਅੰਧਲੇ ਤ੍ਰਿਭਵਨ ਸੂਜਿਆ ਗੁਰ ਭੇਟ ਪੁਨੀਤਾ। ਮਹਿਮਾ ਸਾਧੂ ਸੰਗ ਕੀ ਸੁਣੋ ਮੇਰੇ ਮੀਤਾ, ਮੈਲ ਖੋਈ ਕੋਟ ਅਗ ਕਰੇ ਨਿਰਮਲ ਪਏ ਚੀਤਾ। When we start going in the state of awakeness, when we are awake, when we are conscious, when our mind is conscious, and when we understand the difference between the physical world and the subtle world, when we are awake in the samadhi, in the sun, Maharaj is telling that state to us, that in that state, maybe you are not connected with the physical body, and even if somebody is disabled, somebody is crippled, they can cross the mountain in that state, because the no restriction of the physical body is there. Because if you are disabled or crippled from the physical body, if you have arthritis or whatnot, you can still cross the mountain in that state. And that's a amazing state. Amazing state. People will not understand that state. If you will tell somebody, they will say you are joking. Because at that point of time, just like yesterday we discussed about the Satpurak, Satpurak is physical, as in it is connected from the toe to the top of the head physically, but actually Satpurak itself is subtle. When we do Simran, when we go in the conscious state, when the mind is in peace, then the state is achieved, which we call it out of body experience or whatnot. In that state, you're not restricted to the physical capacity. That's why Maharaj says in next line, Andale Tripavan Sujya Gur Pet Punita. And in that state, even physically, if somebody is blind, it does not matter. You can still see. Your mind's eyes are still active. And you can actually see the physical things also. But your state is non-physical, subtle, but you can see physical things also there. All the three worlds, Patal Lok, Akash Lok, Poom Lok, all the three worlds can be seen. Mehma, how did it happen? Mehma sadhu sang ki suno mere mita. This is the glory of Sachi Sangat, the true congregation. And with the company of the saints, this can be achieved. How? Mail khoi kod ag kare nirmal paye chita. All the sins, all the pap, as in all the thoughts goes away, all the filth of the mind goes away, and the chit, as in the mind, becomes a nirmal, becomes pure. It's a pure consciousness state. And that Satpurak helps us in going into that state. Since it is a continuation from the last Shabad, which we were not able to cover yesterday because of the time limits. So think, when we are discussing about this Shabad, it is connected with Satpurak. Again, the difference between Satpurak and Sadguru should be known. It's actually, Satpurak is a physical manifestation of the Satguru. Satguru is pure divine, pure Vaheguru, same as Satpurak, but Satpurak enable our physical body to walk, to talk, to hear. Problem comes when mind don't listen to Satpurak, and mind listens to the five thieves. That's the difference. When mind starts listening to the five thieves, that's why we do mistakes. In Punjabi ਚ ਜਿਹਨੂੰ ਕਹਿੰਦੇ ਹੁਕਮ ਤੋਂ ਬਾਹਰ ਚਲੇ ਗਿਆ. That hukam is inside, but hukam is inside only for those who goes inside, whose senses, whose indriya goes inside. If the senses, the wisdom senses or action senses, karam indriya, gyan indriya are looking outside, then we'll not be able to understand what is the game which is being played. Only when these senses turns inside, then we'll understand that who is Satpurukh, who is Satguru. ਆਸਾ ਮਹੱਲਾ ਪੰਜਵਾਂ ਅੰਤਰ ਗਾਵੋ ਬਾਹਰ ਗਾਵੋ ਗਾਵੋ ਜਾਗ ਸਵਾਰੀ. When the Satpurukh is activated, when the senses goes inside, then only we can do internal Simran, Antargat Simran. There are a lot of times when people say, oh, मैं ते जी अंतर्गत सिमरन करदा. I do अंतर्गत सिमरन, internal Simran. Very good. But where is your mind when you are doing internal Simran? Internal Simran is only beneficial when the mind is in peace. Because at the end of the day, who do Simran? Who listen to the Simran? Who is doing it? Who is listening it? If the mind is absent, then Satpurak will continue doing the Simran. That's why when we do Vah Guru, Vah Guru, Vah Guru, and sometimes our mind is thinking something else. The thoughts are going on. What is happening there? Simran is still happening, but the filth of the mind is not being washed. Because who is doing Simran? Satpurak is doing Simran. That's why the major component in the doing the Simran is Gaviye Suniye Man Rakhiye Pao. If the mind is not listening, even if you're chanting, chanting will continue. But the mind is not listening. Just like you're washing a cloth with, let's say, a washing powder or a washing soap, just like in India, we used to have washing soaps. And when you're washing with that brick soap and putting the brick soap on your cloth, and your focus goes somewhere else, then you see the cloth is not being washed or cleaned. You are rubbing that soap maybe just on the floor. What does that mean is listening is the most important component when we do Simran meditation. Saas Gira Simran. Because in Saas Gira Simran, that's why Maharaj says, Sunaya Duk Pap Ka Nas. We have to chant, but the most important part is listening to that chanting. Because even if your focus is not in the chanting, chanting will still continue. That's why in the internal Simran, we have to make sure first our mind goes in peace. Then only we go to the internal Simran. Otherwise, we will keep on chanting loud so that our mind starts listening. Because Satpurak will always be chanting inside us. अंतर गावों बाहर गावों गावों जाग सवारी. And when the Satpurak is activated, then you will be singing the praises inside, outside, while you are awake, while you are asleep. Even when you are sleeping, you will be still singing the praises of the divine. And you can test that. Before doing the Simran, before sleeping, before going to the bed, start doing Simran. Maybe little bit loud or very slow. Vah Guru Vah Guru. Slowly, slowly, you will go inside and then you will sleep. And in between, if you wake up for whatever reason, you will be surprised that you are still doing the Simran. Because you are not the one who was doing the Simran at the first place. Satpurak was doing the Simran and the mind was simply listening. Now, if the mind is under the influence of five thieves, let's say within the lust, greed, anger, attachment, ego, let's take a case of a lust, then mind will be aware of only lust, nothing else. It will not listen to the Satpurak. Gande mande khayal, all the dirty thoughts will keep on coming in your mind. You might be seeing something, listening something, but all filth, sirf mal. That's why Maharaj says we have to make a practice. अंतर गावों बाहर गावों गावो जाग सवारी संग चलन को तोसा दीना गोविंद नाम के ब्योहारी. Bihari is trader. When we start doing the Simran in the Sangat, in the Sachi Sangat, in the company of saints, then one thing, something is received. We get something. That tosa, jeb kharch bhi kehande hai, it's a pocket money in the form of naam. When you travel physically, you go from one place to another, especially when we are young, our parents give us some pocket money, $100, $200. You are going to school, you are going to college, wherever you are going, you would need some money on the way, maybe to have a soda, or you will eat something, but you would need some money. Similarly, when we start doing the internal Simran, you start disconnecting from the physical body. You're not connected. People will think that you are asleep, but you are still out of your body. Now, Maharaj has given us a hint. Maharaj says, don't go out without a tosa. And this is the biggest mistake. A lot of people go out. Millions of the people, they every day, almost everybody goes out of the body. But most of the people they are not aware of. But then there are millions of people who go out of the body and they are aware that they are out of the body. But they are still not connected with the Satpuruk. There also, they get in a place which is a place called void, where nothing is there. It's a nothingness state. And then they start taking a thought of the world. Maybe a good thought, maybe a Rajogun thought, Tamogun thought, or maybe a Sattogun thought. A good thought, let's say somebody will take a thought that I want to, for example, if it is a Sikh, it's say, oh, I want to go to the Darbar Sahib Amritsar. They will go there. Oh, I want to go to the Hazur Sahib. They will go there. Maybe for a Christian, maybe I want to go to the Vatican. Maybe for a Muslim, I want to go to the whatever it is called, Kaaba, Makkah, whatever it is. The point here is you will still go there, but remember, they are the physical places. Maharaj says, go, leave your body, but remember, go with a pocket money. Activate, because that pocket money will be given to you by the Satpuruk. Satpuruk will not go with you. Remember this. Yesterday also we discussed this. Satpuruk, Satguru is not going to go with you. Your consciousness is going to go because your physical body, the moment Satpurak leaves your body, you're dead. You're dead, as in you cannot come back. Sito Sita Mehma Mahe. If you want to go, we are going to discuss all these 5 stages in upcoming Atlanta camp, which is next weekend. The small description, not small, actually in details, there are many lectures which are already there in the Japji Sahib. Taram Khand, Gyan Khand, right? All the five khands are discussed. There, when the mind is created, when Vaiguruji creates the mind, at that point of time, mind, the Satpurak is connected with the physical body. Mind is connected with the physical body. Mind is just one component of, because at the end of the day, what is mind? What is the reality of mind? मन तू ज्योत स्वरूप है अपना मूल पहचान. But because mind is separated, the consciousness is separated, that's why we get confused about it. That who are we? Are we the mind? Are we the soul? Or are we the physical body? And this whole journey, spiritual journey, is about recognizing your mind. Satpuruk is there, Satguru is there to make you aware who you are. But Maharaj says when your mind is in peace, when you're doing internal Simran, you need to have something in the form of tosa, in the form of pocket money, in the form of naam. Then you can go to Sachkhand, to the Dasam Dwar. That's where your destination is. Because if you have to go to the physical places, what is the difference between you and the ghost? Between me and the ghost. If I decide I want to go to Amritsar because Amritsar is my birthplace, and a lot of times I go there also when I'm asleep. But that's not my destination. That should not be my destination. My destination should be going to the Vaiguru. You will be conscious in both states. And this is a beauty. You will be conscious in both states. But in one state, you are conscious and you're still attached with the physical things. In the second state, you're conscious and connecting with the Govind, with the Naam, and you are doing the trading of Naam. You are going to Sukh Mahal. Sang chalan ko tosa dina Govind naam ke bihari. And when you have that tosa, then you are going to go to the place where Govind is there, where the Dasam Dwar is there, which is above your body, physical body, which is in the Dasma Akash, the 10th ether, not in the Akash, not in the space, but in the Dasma Akash. Gurumukha andar sehaj hai, man chadya dasve Akash. And that will happen only with the Gurmukhs who have Gur with them, who have Tosa with them, who have Naam with them. And when their mind goes in peace, they go to the 10th Akash. That's where you see the darshan of Vaiguru. Avar Bisari Bisari. If that stage is not reached, our Bisari Bisari stage is not reached, you cannot go there. What is Bisari Bisari is forget. If you have forgotten everything which is physical, meaning if you have left behind the physical things, your relatives, your friends, your family, your car, your house, your pets, whatever you can think of, your job, your money, anything which was physical, then only you can go there. Avar bisari bisari, नाम दान गुर पूरै दियो मैं एहो आधारी रहाओ stuck. When I forgot everything, that's why we do this ardas. विसर नाही दातार अपना नाम देहो गुण गावा दिन रात नानक चाहो एहो. We should not forget Vaiguru, but we should forget everything else. If we will not forget Vaiguru, and if we will forget everything else, our Bisari, forget everything, then we will get that Tosa. Otherwise, what happens? Physically, or when the death comes, which we call death, physical death, death actually never is there, but let's say when physical death is there, when the time is done in this physical world, most of the good people, here, remember this thing, most of the good people, they will go with the five thieves, or तीन ही रह जाते वैसे, only three are left, but that's a separate issue, some other day issue. But these same five thieves becomes the jumps. They become the jumps. Now we go with them. Now they will say, this yatra, this travel which we have to do, it is going to be very difficult for you. But we can make it easy for you. How? You give us the karam. Whatever good actions you have done, you give us that. And all the good people, why we call them good people? Because they have done good actions. And they are going to take all your good karams from you. पुण्य दान जो बीजते सब धर्म राय को जाए. Very few will be left with the Dharam for the Dharmaraj also. Rest, these doots are going to loot it from you. You know, people who come to America, and if you have talked with them, I don't know we have anybody in this call, but you might know some people who come on asylum in this country. I have talked with many, and they say when they use the word donkey literally is a donkey, right? So they say they have to go through so many problems when they are coming on a donkey to America. They have to give money at every single portion, and these are actually the pirates. Kind of, they are the goons, and they are walking with them. The same is the state of a soul, of a mind, of a Jeev Atma, when the Jeev Atma is walking with them through that Bikram Nadi. When they're walking there, you have to give them the good actions in the form of the money. And you have the other kind of a tosa there, right? But if you have a Naam the tosa, they cannot even reach you. Naam the tosa is like a legal permit or a legal visa. There, you can directly sit on a plane and come. Whereas if you're coming on a donkey, it's going to take days or sometimes months or years. Same thing is there because we are going for the physical purposes. Avar bisari naam dan gur pura diyo. But if we have a visa, a permit, a permanent residency, that naam dan which has been given to us by Satguruji, gur pura diyo, मैं एहो अदारी, I have a support of that. मैं एहो अदारी रहाओ, दुखन गावूं, सुख भी गावूं, marg panth samari. Marg is rasta, the path which we are discussing about. Panth is the rasta, right? आई पंथी सगल जमाती मन जीते जगजीत. And it does not matter whether you have a dukh, a pain, or you have a sukh, a peace. We need to make sure in pain or in happiness, we keep on praising Vaheguru. Then only we can walk on the path shown by Vaheguru. Two paths, one is the Livda Rasta, other is the Taatda Rasta. Live is the path of love, Tat is the path of materialism. The path where we come back in this world again and again, reincarnation. But we don't have to worry about it. If there are pain in our mental pain, physical pain, if we have, we need to make sure we keep on remembering Vaheguru, which is very difficult. Easy to say, difficult to do, especially in the dukh. But Maharaj actually says otherwise. Maharaj says in dukh actually it becomes easy. In pain it becomes easy. In sukh, in happiness, it becomes difficult. Because if you are happy, you think, why should I worry about remembering Vaheguru? I have everything. I have money, I have food, I have everything. Then you don't remember Vaheguru. But when in dukh, when you have physical pain, mental pain, that's why Maharaj says, dukh daru, sukh rog pya. But here Maharaj is saying, does not matter whether you have a dukh or a sukh, you keep on remembering Vaheguruji and you will be able to cross this treacherous path, this difficult path. Dukhan gavun, sukh bhi gavun, marg panth samari. And Maharaj is going to help us with that. He will show us that rasta, that path. The only thing which we have to do is Naam drid gur man mein diya. Remember this very, very important line. When we start chanting loud, Vah, Guru, Vah, try it, Guru Pyaro, try it. Make a routine, and that's why we are going to have this retreat because there are certain things we cannot do it in the Gurdwara, right? And we have to do sometimes things in a small groups, right? That's why we are doing this retreat in California. That's the first time experiment which we are doing. We're going to stay there day and night. We are going to stay there so that whole day we can chant. Whole day we can go in smadhi. We can even lay down in the sangat, right? In our yoga mats and all. That's why Guru Granth Sahib Ji's Prakash is not going to be there. Why? Because we don't want to do any Bedvi there. But we are going to do everything, whatever is needed, so that we can have love for Vaheguru those 3 days, right? Because when we will understand that when we chant whole day, our mind state is very different. We want to make sure our mind understands that. Minds get into a habit of that. Then whenever there is a vacation from our work or a holiday, just we can do that at home. We don't have to go to the retreats all the time. But this is kind of a learning. So it's kind of a class, starting class on how to do Naam Drid. Naam Drid, but who will give us the Naam? Who will Drid us the Naam? Vaheguru Ji will, Satguru Ji will give us that Naam. Satgur Sikh ko naam tan de. Drid is when the naam is implanted in your mind. First is Guru Mantar. The Guru Mantar will be implanted. And then the naam will be implanted in our mind. And that's all kirpa. I cannot do anything. You cannot do anything. It's a Satguruji inside who will do it. We just have to come as a Sachi Sangat. Naam drid gur man mein diya, and it is received. Naam is always received in the mind, not physically. When we chant Vah Guru, till the time we don't, when the Vaheguru Guru Mantar is not embedded in our mind, we have not crossed the first state. How do we know that that Guru Mantar is now implanted in my mind? You merge in the Guru Mantar. First is merge in Guru Mantar. And how do you know that you have merged in Guru Mantar? While doing the Guru Mantar, you will sleep. You will go in the first Smadhi. And when you stay there for a while, and if there is no thought which is there, if the five thieves are not there, then Satpuruk which is there will do a magic and you will leave the body consciously. And there you will hear the divine sound. That's a Tisri Sun, third Sun. Naam drid gur man mein diya. What is happening? Then the physical body's game is done. It's everything is happening in the mind. Naam drid gur man mein diya mori tisa bujari. Tisa is Trishna. Then there is no Trishna. No desires are left. The mind which was wandering because of the physical desires, it's not going to wander anymore. Mori Trishna Bujari, it goes away. Then what will happen? दिन भी गावूं, रैणी गावूं, गावूं सास सास रस nari. Through the rasna. Rasna never goes away. Rasna as in the tongue. Now somebody will say, what if the person is mute? Guru Pyareo, that's the beauty. That's why we read that Shabad. That even the disabled can walk. Even the blind can walk. Blinds can see. Because at that point of time, when the Satpurak is activated, mind is conscious there. Mind's tongues are chanting. Mind is chanting, mind is listening. And it will happen whole day, whole night. दिन भी गावूं, रैणी गावूं, गावूं सास सास रसनारी. Every breath will be remembering Vaheguru, Vaheguru, Swas Swas Simran. Whole day it will happen. दिन भी गावूं रैणी गावूं गावूं सास सास रस नारी सत संगत में विश्वास विसास हुए. Then the faith will be there. This kirpa happened in the Sachi Sangat. Because all the kirpa is Sachi Sangat, Guru Pyareo. Vaheguru Ji is present here and he is going to give us that. सत संगत में विश्वास होए हर जीवत मरत संगारी. Only when we have faith in the Sachi Sangat, when we start coming in the Sachi Sangat, when we start doing the Simran in the Sachi Sangat, then we understand Har Jivat Marat Sangari, that whether I will live or I will die, Har will be with me all the time. Gur mere sang sada hai nale. Then we don't have to fear of anything. कोई सी चीज का डर नहीं. जन नानक को ए दान देहो प्रभ पावो संत रेन और धारी. Vaheguru Ji, give me a dan. Give me the gift so that Jan Nanak ko e daan deho prabh gavo pavo. Vaheguru. Jan Nanak ko e daan deho prabh pavo sant rain urtari. I should become the dust of the feet of the saints. Give me that gift. Sarvani katha nain dars pekho. Then you will listen to the Anhad Shabad. That Anhad katha will be there. The katha directly from Vaheguru, as in the sound, that divine sound we will hear, and we will see Vaheguru, the divine light, through the Nan. Which Nan? Which eyes? Mind's eyes. Pekho mastak gur charnari. And how did it start? Through the mastak, through the forehead. That's where the third eye, jinu kende, tisri akh. That the journey of the third eye happens, above the 9 doors. Mastak Gur Charnari. Gur Charnari as in the Naam. The Naam is present all the time. It's activated. Jan Nanak ko e daan deo prabh. This is an ardas. We have to do the ardas. Please bless me with the Naam. And so that I can be the dust of the feet of the saints. Meaning, in the Sangat, I should keep on coming and I should keep on singing the praises. Sarvani Katha, listen to that Anhad Katha, that divine sound. Nan Daras Pekhu, then the Seva changes, right? Then everything is through the mind. And you see Vaheguru, you listen to the Vaheguru, Mastak Gurcharnari, and that Naam is present on our forehead. Vaheguru Ji Ka Khalsa, Vaheguru Ji Ki Fateh. हाँ जी गुरु प्यारे हो, किसी का कोई सवाल? Any questions? Going once, going twice, going thrice. आओ जी आप सिमरन करिए जी. वाह, टमी इन, listen to your voice. Guru, tummy out, listen to your voice. सेवा कर लो जी. वाह गुरु, वाह गुरु, वाह गुरु, Why?
Guru, Vah, 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 ਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਅੰਤਰਗਤ ਸਿਮਰਨ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ ਜੀ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ, ਹਮ ਅਵਗੁਣ ਭਰੇ, ਏਕ ਗੁਣ ਨਾਹੀ। ਅੰਮ੍ਰਿਤ ਛਾੜ ਬਿਖੈ ਬਿਖ ਖਾਹੀ। ਮਾਇਆ ਮੋਹ ਪਰਮ ਪੈ ਪੂਲੇ, ਸੁਤ ਦਾਰਾ ਸਿਉ ਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਲਗਾਈ। ਇਕ ਉਤਮ ਪੰਥ ਸੁਣਿਓ ਗੁਰ ਸੰਗਤ, ਤਹ ਮਿਲੰਤ ਜਮ ਤਰਾਸ ਮਿਟਾਈ। ਇਕ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਪਾਟ ਕੀਰਤ ਕੀ, ਗੁਰ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਰਖੋ ਸਰਨਾਈ। ਇਕ ਅਰਦਾਸ ਪਾਟ ਕੀਰਤ ਕੀ, ਗੁਰ ਰਾਮਦਾਸ ਰਖੋ ਸਰਨਾਈ। ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕਾ ਖਾਲਸਾ, ਵਾਹਿਗੁਰੂ ਜੀ ਕੀ ਫਤਿਹ। ਭੁੱਲਾਂ ਚੁੱਕਾਂ ਦੀ ਖਿਮਾ ਸਾਧ ਸੰਗਤ